It's a very good evening from Rob Palmer and Danny Higginbottom, and welcome to Cumbria, where it'll be a lovely day for a walk around the lake, but more importantly for these football fans to see Carlisle's attempt to get past Exeter towards Wembley. This is the first playoff in League One. Good healthy crowd, beautiful pitch, fantastic evening, and the familiarity between these two teams. They met only 8 days ago when those Carlisle players needed a victory to take them into the playoffs. This, of course, is one of 2 games taking place this afternoon just down the M6 on the Farrell Coast at Bloomfield Road. It's Blackpool against Luton, also available on Sky Sports 3. That is the 3rd time they've met this season. It's a wide, expansive pitch, though possibly the tightest tunnel in the whole of this division. The referee is ready, the nerves will be jangling, and a whole season's work, Danny Higginbottom, comes down to the next 2 games.
It does, there's no doubt about it. I think for Exeter, they were in there before. For Carlisle, they went all the way down to the end where, interestingly enough, they beat Exeter, but I don't think there'll be too much to be gained from the performances of both teams last week.
It's a game which has captured the imagination of the Carlisle supporters. Around 750 made the journey down to Devon last weekend to cheer the team on. It certainly worked. And there's a large contingent who've come by train, plane and automobile to enjoy the sunshine here in Cumbria. It is the 3rd time they've met this season. Both of the previous games have ended up as 3-2 successes for Carlisle United, and they've generally gone right down to the wire. Well, Carlisle took a while to unlock Exeter's defence last week, and Keith Cole finally found a system that worked, so it's a change of formation from the start to 4-4-2, with 2 changes. Macaulay Gillespie is replaced at half-time last week by James Bailey, who starts in his place as part of the rejig. Javo Ihiri is suffering from a hamstring injury, so Reggie Lamb is restored. The key man could be Danny Granger, who took away 2 penalties last week. There are 3 changes in the Exeter side, notably in goal, where the taller Bobby Olejnik replaces Christy Pym, who struggled against Carlisle's long throws. Craig Woodman, who's missed 7 games with a broken arm, is back in the team. He brings experience to the defence, so they revert to a back 4. Joel Grant also gets a call. He's in for 16-year-old Ethan Mpardu, who's had his GCSEs this week. He's excused, and he may be revised for Thursday. Both clubs have had to dig deep. Samir Nabi, who only signed in March after a spell in India, makes up the bench for Carlisle. Ruben Reid may be upset not to start after 2 goals in 3 games, but he does specialise in scoring as a substitute. His last 4 have come from the bench. And so the scene is set. They come by rail, and then they're flown into Newcastle, flown into Manchester as well. And their destination, they hope, is to get to Wembley. For both managers before the game, it was a poker face. So let's ask Danny Higginbottom, who the key player is going to be today.
Now, this man in the picture, Nicky Adams, Carlisle's standout performer, whether playing in the wide or central areas. Great movement in finding space between the opposition midfield and defence. He'll be tasked with creating opportunities for his teammates, hoping that he can add to his 17 assists this season. And as for Exeter, the goalkeeper, Bobby Olejnik, coming in to replace Christy Pym. Physical presence in goal, and will have to stand up to the stern test that Carlisle are sure to pose from set pieces and long throw-ins in particular.
Well, it has been quite a turnaround in the season of Exeter. When they played against Carlisle here in November, they went to the bottom of the pile in the Football League. In fact, only Orient and Exeter have spent more time in the relegation zone than this season. But they went on a charge in the winter, and they made it to the playoffs with a game to go. And Carlisle, they've done it the hard way. They had a wonderful start to the season. They had the fewest losses in the whole of England in the first half of the season, but they left it right to the wire to beat their opponents today. Last week at St James's Park down south, and they do battle once more. Last week, both teams went with a 3-5-2 formation. Both managers have shaken it up today.
They have, I think, from Carlisle's point of view. They probably think to themselves, physical presence, can they get balls in the wide areas to maybe get 2v1 against the Exeter wing-backs? Maybe a little bit forward thinking as well from Paul Tisdale. He may have looked at it and thought, okay, well, Carlisle are going to do that, so we'll try and match them up.
There's Jamie Devitt getting the ball long, maybe testing the nerves of Bobby Olejnik, who hasn't kept goal for the last 8 matches. Christy Pym last week looked a little bit nervous as Carlisle were launching the long throws into the area. And so Paul Tisdale has gone for the more experienced of his 2 custodians. Jordan Moore-Taylor putting the pressure here on Michael Rains. Vastly experienced player, the vice-captain of the team. Nobody will want to make the mistake which cost their club a chance of going to Wembley, a chance of elevation. Keith Curle changed things at half-time last week. His team were trailing. In fact, they got behind 4 times this season against Exeter. No, Danny, you were noting before the game that Carlisle are rather slow starters. Yeah, that was something that, you know, I'd looked at the amount of goals that they had scored in the first half compared to the second half, so they looked to try and grow their way into the game. Just as we're seeing Exeter now in midfield, this is what they love to do, especially away from home on the bigger pitches. They love to try and dictate play and play through the middle. They've got very willing runners. We've just seen Wheeler down the right-hand side. He'll come in very narrow and try and join in with Watkins as sole player up front. Well, they are playing a diamond formation with Ollie Watkins at the head of their attack, and it does look like they're starting with a back three. We asked Paul Tisdale before the game. He suggested it may have been a back four, but he was also waiting to see how Carlisle started the game. It's like a footballing game of chess between these 2 managers. Granger, there's the ball. He's a local lad, made good, one of the few players to come through the Carlisle youth system into the team. Luke Joyce looking for Reggie Lamb, muscled off the ball. Referee may let them get away with the first challenge in the game. The man in the middle today is David Webb from County Durham, not too far for him to travel. One thing we noticed when we turned up at Brunton Park today was this pristine pitch. It's always been that way. Goalkeeper had a little slip there as Ollie Watkins is preparing the shot. And he's a player who's caught the eye of many a championship club. 1 or 2 scouts eyeing him today. He's the EFL Young Player of the Year. Maybe their best chance of a goal. Yeah, and he is, as you just mentioned, the Young Player of the Year. First player to get it as well from League 2. Dele Alli in previous seasons when he was at MK Dons, but he's a very, very interesting player to watch. A lot of interest been in him. In January there was talk there'd been a multi-million-pound bid for him. Southampton have been mentioned with him and Derby, so he's definitely a player to keep your eye out. Well, there is a manager in the stands today. Derek Adams of Plymouth Argyle, promoted himself. We were saying it's a long way for him to come to watch the game, but of course he is Scottish, and I'm sure he's gone back home. This is first chance. Brilliant save by Olejnik. Well, he's earned his recall to the team with a tremendous fingertip save. It didn't matter because this was apparently offside. Somewhere in the build. Oh no, he's giving it for a push. Yeah, I think he's giving it for a push on Moore-Taylor, but that just shows you what Carlisle are capable of. They will turn this into a physical battle if they need to. I think it was very unfortunate to have a foul given against him, Proctor, here. If anything, Moore-Taylor just misjudges the ball. Proctor takes it well. Nevertheless, it's a good save by Olejnik. And Jamie Proctor, striker who's on loan from Bolton Wanderers, has had the tough job of replacing Charlie White, who is still the leading scorer despite leaving in the winter. This is certainly an up-and-at-him approach here from Exeter. Exeter's away form is much better than their home form. It has been for the last 5 seasons. Referee played the advantage, which became a disadvantage. It was a chicken and egg situation, wasn't he? He tried his best there, David Webb, but had he allowed it to continue, it would have been offside. Yeah, it's a good decision, David. Once again, it's Proctor and Moore-Taylor near the halfway line. So just as Proctor gets away from him, Taylor just pulls him back.
It's going to be an interesting battle between these two. In the opening 5 minutes, we've seen it a few times. We're going to see it a lot more before then. Before the game finishes.
And they've reconvened a battle which started last week, and he scored the winning goal, Jamie Proctor. He sent all the players up there, and it was Michael Rains getting a header on the ball. Clive handball ignored by the referee. Joel Grant. It's Tetchy down there. Some sharp tackles going in the opening 6 or 7 minutes of this game. Lloyd James. Now Joel Grant getting plenty of the ball early on. Skillful man. And just testing the alertness of Mark Gillespie. Hardly a chance to breathe in this game. Here is Nicky Adams. Won 5 awards last week in the players' ceremonies. And the very eager Reggie Lamb was offside. They're working overtime at the moment, the two assistant referees.
They are. The game really is end-to-end. You can see that both teams, they really are going for it. You see this chance. Oh, it's very, very close, that one. Good play for him. Adams coming in off that right-hand side. And Lamb just looking to play on the shoulder, but both teams...
That's what happens when you wear distinctive boots. It's easy for the referee's assistant to see.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think what you've got as well is going forward for Exeter, you've got Watkins and Wheeler. Wheeler's good in the air, he'll drift inside. Watkins got the pace. And likewise Proctor for Carlisle with Lamb, who'll just drift around him. So it's making for a very entertaining game where both teams are just happy to get it forward as quick as possible.
There is Moore Taylor, who's chased down by his nemesis Proctor. It's a beautiful afternoon, the sun is shining, hardly a cloud in the sky, but there is quite a wind swirling around the stadium, which may work to the advantage of Carlisle, who have a couple of long throw experts in the team. Goes back to the traditions of Rory Delap, who cut his teeth at this club. Watkins coming back from an offside position.
It really is very compact at the moment. Both teams playing very high. We've seen that with the number of offside decisions. If someone of the pace of Watkins, or likewise with Lamb, can time the run right, there's plenty of space in behind both back fours.
But when they were bottom of the table back in November, he was still telling those that would listen to him that he felt they could get in the playoffs. And they went on an incredible run, and here they are. And there's Proctor. And you can see what was happening in his mind's eye.
Yeah, he's causing a lot of problems. Every time the ball's going up to him, it's sticking. You know, in them situations, Exeter, they could really do it, putting a defensive midfielder in front, therefore the centre-halves don't have to get involved in a battle with him, because then they get taken out of the game. Proctor takes it down really well. You see what he's trying to do. Just not able to keep the effort down.
And Jamie Proctor, one of the winter recruits for Keith Curle. He's described Exeter as a dangerous animal away from home. He's a popular man these days, Keith Curle, but he was saying this week that it took a while to win over the Carlisle supporters. They didn't exactly welcome him with open arms. Mind you, when he took over, they were bottom of League Two without a win in 14 games. It was pretty dismal around here. And there is Lamb. This is a first experience of the playoffs for Exeter. They rejoined the Football League, of course, after getting through the final back in the conference almost a decade ago now. Carlisle have never had success in the playoffs. Now, you can sense the anticipation around Brunton Park, because this is where they specialise.
Yeah, they're very strong with it. I know they'll bring the likes of Little, Rains, Proctor. They'll all come forward. Huge threat. And you can see that Exeter made that change because of it in goal.
And they go for the element of surprise by taking it quickly and short. Comes off the toe there of Rains. There's Danny Granger. They've left the tall heavyweight players in the penalty area. Rains trying to get ahead on it. Now it's a long trawl back for the central defenders, or maybe not. And Danny Granger does have a longish throw. And Tom Miller over there as well.
something that they do work on a lot of the time. Keith Curl said that they do want to work on getting the ball down. Set pieces, throw-ins, they said it's something they work meticulously on as well.
It was his long throw that led to the winning goal last week. It's a javelin throw as well, isn't it? Lively start, elation it comes. He tries to set Watkins, is alone with 3 minders. Woodman hangs in the air, makes it easy for Mark Gillespie. Now Nicky Adams, he's going to be the main outlet of the team. 15 assists he's recorded this season. Good feet from Proctor. Now Adams. Devitt. It's a very good tackle. They have a spare man on the far side. This is Tom Miller. Miller teases the ball. It was a poor cross. About half a dozen players in and around the area then. Luke Joyce. He becomes right to the extreme again. He's all pumped up, isn't he, Olejnik?
Well, that's exactly what's going to be expected of him. It's not being rocket science. Carlisle, every time they're getting the ball in the wide areas, they're just looking to get a touch and then put the ball in there. It's not necessarily the initial ball that they may score from. It might be a second ball where Proctor goes up for a centre-back. Can the midfield runners then get up to support and create the opportunities? And Keith Curl said, you know, he has a philosophy, the way that he wants to play, but he believes that the plays he's got, this is the best way to get the best out of them, the physical side of things. And that, for me, is the best thing that a manager should do. Don't play the way he wants to play, but the way that suits the players.
This is Pierce Sweeney. He finds a track, puts in a great cross. Oh, just needed finishing. Ollie Watkins had stolen in there on the blind side.
It's a fantastic ball in from Sweeney. Miller maybe just did enough at the far post. I think Watkins, with the ability that he's got, you would expect it to do better there. What a great ball that was in from Sweeney, though.
We'll be happy with this team start. They're actually edging the possession.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would. Well, I don't think Carlisle would be under any illusions that Exeter, they're actually more dominant away from home, where they can have the bigger, they've got the bigger pitch and can be more expansive. So it doesn't surprise me to see the more possession from Exeter. But with Carlisle, it becomes a percentage game. So therefore, it's not a case of possession side of things. It's what they can do in the opposition box. Can they win them second balls?
Well, they had so many injury problems at the start of the season. Paul Tisdale was citing that. Once he's got his players back and available to recruit a couple as well in the winter transfer window, they have gone on a charge. In fact, they're the top scorers since November. Sometimes a club goes away from home in the playoffs not to concede, maybe to take it back 0-0. That will not be the approach of Exeter City. Pierce Sweeney teasing the game, keeper stays on his line. Good defending by James Bailey. Adams.
I spoke to Paul Tisdale earlier on in the week, and I asked him about the system that he plays, and he goes, take no notice of it. It will change 2-3 times in a game. I want the players to be flexible depending on the way that the game's going, and that's what you want from your players, not just to be able to switch systems to try and confuse the opposition.
Pierce Sweeney reach into the box. Oh, keeper can't keep it out. And Exeter take the lead. A scrappy goal, but such a valuable goal for James Grant. Joel Grant scores the first goal. First blood, Exeter.
It's a lovely crossover here between Watkins and Wheeler. Just seeing trading places. The runners don't go. Grant comes in at the far post. Gillespie, I think, will be disappointed though that he didn't save that. It's not the best of connections. He's got good direction on it. He just can't get enough of a hand on it. He thinks he's saved it, and then it hits the inside of the post and comes back at him. He works it really well down that right hand side. Fantastic ball in from Watkins. He found that space and then fed that man Joel Grant.
Well, there we go, his 50th goal in English football for the Jamaican international. He will be disappointed with his part in the goal. Mark Gillespie. Sometimes goalkeepers try to be too perfect and hang on to it. The modern trend is to just get the ball out of the danger area.
I think why I'd be disappointed is that he got his hand to it, and I think that'll be the thing that disappoints him most. Don't get me wrong, Exeter worked it really well and got the cross into the box, but I think that we'll be slightly disappointed he wasn't able to keep it out of the goal.
Well, they do have a habit of hanging on to a lead. Generally, Exeter scored first on 26 occasions this season. They've gone on to win 19 of them. Mind you, in the games between these two teams, Carlisle do have a record of staging a comeback. Woodman. And Grant to Watkins. It won't be a surprise to the Carlisle supporters. They don't defend well at the moment. They haven't had a clean sheet in their last 6 games. Well, he was a capped international, wasn't he? 3 caps for England, Keith Curl. He will not be happy with the way his defence folded there and allowed the header.
I think it's obviously allowing the header, but first enabling Watkins to get into the position he did. There was a little bit of a crossover and there was switching off from Carlisle defensively. Keith Curl, he was a top-class centre-back, he won't be happy about that.
Luke Joyce. Well, they have to dust themselves down here, Carlisle United, after a bright start. Tom Miller looking for the low route, cleared by Jake Taylor. When they played here in November, we had a goal in the 9th minute of the game. Charlie White scored in that one. It was actually the first goal was scored by Exeter, and that was after 40 seconds of the match, and Carlisle came back to win that one. Olejnik said he headed his area, and well, he plays a juggling game as well.
He gets away with that one. He has been patrolling his area really well. You see, once again, he comes right to the edge of the box to take care of it, and Proctor just can't get there before Olejnik can react.
Watkins. Oh, brilliant turn. Leaves reins, and there's a little bit of payback there from the Carlisle central defender. And the first caution of the game. Well, his pride was hurt, wasn't it?
He started very lively. Watkins, see, it's all about that second touch. Gets him away from range. He's got great pace. No way that range could stop him.
It's going to be a long time, over 70 minutes in the game to play with the shadow of the yellow card over your head. Carlisle bring everybody back apart from Nicky Adams. Troy Brown and Moore Taylor given license to get at that. To the wasted free kick. It's a wasted shot. Jake Taylor well off target.
Just looking at the goal again, it's the case of switching off. I think it's actually Joyce. He's initially with Watkins, and there's just a little bit of a swap over. Joyce doesn't go with him. It's too easy then for Watkins to get the ball into the box. Take nothing away from Grant. He's gambled. He's coming narrow. It's too easy for him to find that space to put the cross into the box. And that's what leads to the goal.
Well, the goalkeeper, the one in focus, but it was also the fullback who fell asleep. It was a raised boot from Luke Joyce. All going according to plan so far for Paul Tisdale. He's about to celebrate 11 years in charge of the club. second only to Arsene Wenger. He might be the longest serving manager in the country next season.
Could well be. He's done really well at Exeter. I think one of the things he talks about his players, you know, with glowing pride, and when he speaks he talks about the different types of players that he's got, the problem solvers. That's always the thing with him. I need players that are problem solvers on the pitch because I can't do everything when I'm on the sideline. So to enable players to be like that, he has to have a huge element of trust in them, and that's what he does with his players.
And he's hoping to lead them to his third promotion as manager. Woodman. Exeter can afford to slow the pace of the play down. Told in the other tie, the other semi-final, of course. Not so far away here as the Seagull flies. Blackpool, should I say, are leading Luton after 90 minutes. Mark Cullen scored the goal in that game. Bailey neatly through the challenges, looking for Lamb. Lamb has to hold up to allow Proctor to check himself back onside. Back to Lamb. Not a lot of support for Reggie Lamb. Back up is Miller. Joyce. That was just one of those hidden hopes, and easy for an experienced defender like Troy Brown to deal with. I think they've recovered now from the shot. Can they get some retribution? Proctor's in there. But wonderful defending from Troy Brown.
Otherwise, outstanding defending from Brown. Lamb just works that yard on the right-hand side. There's a little bit of space when he puts the cross in. Just Brown is constantly watching Proctor, and that's magnificent defending. Otherwise, it was sure to be a goal for Proctor.
There's the rock on which the Exeter defence is built upon. He's there again. And off balance, off target shot from James Bailey. There'll be no panic from Keith Curle. He's looking at the two legs. He knows there'll be lots of twists and lots of turns between now and late on Thursday night down on the south coast. Witnesses claim there's a handball not seen by the referee or his assistant. Miller dives in. Good challenge on Ryan Harley. Certainly Exeter are making the most efficient use of the ball so far.
There's been some very good link-up play. We talked about Wheeler. He's been playing right wing back in recent games. But he's near enough joining up with Watkins now through the middle. Fantastic in the air. He scored a number of goals that way as well, coming in at the far post. And when the ball's going up to him, Watkins, you can guarantee he's gambling off him every time.
Nice little interchange. The spare man coming in from the wing is Nicky Adams. Adams is backed up by Granger. Well, he finds the gap, gets it across. You're not going to get a bobble on a pitch like this. Everything is perfect. Adams again. Touch of the John Robertson's about his style of play.
Exeter are doing really well at the moment when they're going forward. The wide players to a certain extent, Grant and Wheeler, they're coming in and playing very now. Grant in particular, Carlisle are really struggling to pick him up. He's coming all the way across the pitch and he's linking up with Watkins and with Wheeler.
Miller back to Gillespie. When they met back in November, the final deciding goal was scored in the 97th minute. Carlisle only equalised in the 89th minute of that game. So this could be a test of the endurance of these two sides. Ten assists this season. many of them from the long throw for Danny Granger. It's a fast bowler's run up to that one. They'll handle it well. Not good presence. Was an excellent turn by Watkins. He doesn't have any support. Can he go solo? He's got the confidence, he's got the belief, he's got the balance. He didn't have the finish.
So well initially. Little just really sells himself there. He's the last man. Watkins just uses his body, just turns him. He gets away at first, cuts inside, does all the hard work. Just can't get any power behind the shot, but he has been very, very dangerous.
Troy Brown transfers the pressure to fellow defender Woodman. Now they're forming a response, Carlisle. And that one passage of play maybe sums them up. It's just been a little bit sloppy in the final third of the field.
I think it has at the moment. They've not really got into the game. They need to get the likes of Adams and DeVitt more into the game, because Adams in particular, he's key. The amount of assists that he's got this season, one of the most in League Two, certainly the most in Carlisle, and they want him to get on the ball more.
There is Lamb on the team today for Jabo Ibiani, who has a hamstring injury. Excellent. Passes the defender with ease, Lamb. And the extra man is Moore Taylor. Home supporters getting a response from their players here. They can't rely on their defence, Carlisle. They've got the worst defence of all of the teams in the playoffs this season. Tom Miller's throw. Rains lays the ball back. It was a rudimentary tactic, but it almost unlocked that Exeter defence.
It's a chance. When you talk about the long throws, more often than not it's the second ball. It just goes to the edge of the area. Joyce is just not able to get enough on him, but these are opportunities for Carlisle. Like I say, not necessarily the first bowler, but it comes down to that second ball and which player from which team is going to get there first.
Well, regularly been on La Liga this season, where they've just discovered the long ball tactic. They've just found a diamond in the sand here at Carlisle. It's been a tactic they have utilised. He was a teammate of yours, wasn't he, Rory Delap?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I played with him at Derby and at Southampton. Didn't have any idea. And then one day at Stoke, we were having to do some crossing, and the winger at the time couldn't cross the ball. He was slightly injured, so they got Rory Delap to throw the ball in.
Well, that's the low route to goal here. They've got a spare man on the far side. It's all very quick. It's not the best of passes to Lamb. Can he make something of it? Oh, he tried to fly it into the top corner. Best response yet we've seen from Carlisle United.
It's much better from Carlisle. They break quickly, and there's runners off the ball. The ball comes into Joyce here. He has the presence of mind. Eventually gets the ball out to Lamb, who's clearly onside. Brown playing him on. Trying to curl it into that far corner. But he can't, but that is much better. We've seen Lamb at times drifting over to the right. And coming in now, it's exactly what he's trying to do, and it's a good effort.
Apt name for Cumbria, isn't it, Lamb?
Just going back to the Rory Delap situation at Stoke City, Tony Pulis, nobody knew anything about it. And
oh, it's a terrible ball, and it's offside. What a let-off for Carlisle there. The defence has gone into a Sunday afternoon slumber.
They do take chances at the back, and you can't afford to do that when the likes of Watkins and Grant are there. Very, very fortunate. You can see quite clearly he's offside. Carlisle got away with that one.
No, Grant was lurking with intent. Adams becoming more involved in the game, as is Lamb, utilising the attacking wide players. Miller would like it behind him. Lamb goes into the centre. Powerful connection from Troy Brown. Is Lamb fouled? The referee took his time, assessed the situation, and has given Carlisle a big advantage here with this free kick.
Lamb and DeVitt swap positions. Lamb just gone out to that right-hand side, looking to test Woodman. Passed him a few times there. You can see just a late challenge, but another great opportunity for Carlisle. Every time Lamb gets the ball, he does look dangerous. Very direct.
Woodman chopped him.
I'll give you that one.
Thank you. Every single Exeter player has been called back onto defensive duty here. Sun shining in the eyes of Lejnik, the keeper, as well. May make it difficult to deal with. And they certainly have a height and weight advantage in the tail of the tape, Carlisle United. Little and Rains, both 6 foot plus, stationed around the penalty spot. Adams fires it in, the Lejnik came for it, but taking charge of the situation was Jordan Moore-Taylor.
Take no chances there. Lejnik has come off his line again, but from a defender's point of view, Moore-Taylor done exactly the right thing.
Everybody stays back defending for Exeter. The ball swirls in the air. Brown not with the best of connections, lad. Woodman charging it down. Good sustained period of pressure this from Carlisle United. Adams fires it in, needs a connection, gets it connected. Anything will do, an ugly goal, but a diamond of a goal. The man who's celebrating is Nicky Adams, who instigated the mistake and found the gap in the Exeter defence.
They never really clear the corner, and it's the corner taker, Adams, just stays out there. Nobody goes out there, they just don't follow the ball. Actually, the ball's then put in. It actually comes off Moore-Taylor at the far post. It's unfortunate for him, but one thing I would say is Proctor is just behind him. But we talked about Adams, how key he was going to be. It's a fantastic ball in, and he brings the mistake out of Moore-Taylor. It was all about Exeter pushing up but not marking, and that meant that Adams, the corner taker on the right hand side, was left unmarked.
Well, he had been sure-footed for the opening half an hour of the game. One footstep in the wrong place, and Nicky Adams weighs in with his 16th assist of the season. It's a rusty old roof they have in this main stand, but they're lifting it, the Carlisle supporters.
They aren't. I think the one thing from Exeter's point of view, when you're defending, when you clear the ball, you're supposed to go out marking men. As you can see from Adams, he took the corner, stayed out wide right. Nobody went anywhere near him. He had the time and space, and when you've got the delivery that he has and the assist he's got this season, he was always going to put a good one in. That's exactly what he did.
Well, some managers these days operate with an iPad down on the touchline. Paul Tisdale's just delved into his coaching volumes. There's Devitt looking for Proctor. Brown gets in the way. Moore-Taylor lets it go back to his keeper. Well, they have the lead for around 16 minutes of the game. To Exeter respond. I'm sure you know by now, they've been in the playoffs over the last couple of weeks, that away goals do not count in these situations.
What Carlisle has done, and it's really upset the way that Exeter are playing. Just been a little bit of a change from Devitt and Lamb. We've spoken about him. Devitt near enough now, coming, just playing, just off Proctor, with Lamb keeping his width on the right hand side, have been very direct. Last 10 minutes it has been a complete role reverse in terms of possession. And Keith Curl, he'll be absolutely delighted. You know, the response to his team going down, they are the better team now, no doubt about it.
And two managers who have been exacting in their approach to this game, but there's nothing they can do about individual errors, and that is what has led to both of the goals so far. James to Grant. Rains leaves it to his keeper, Gillespie. Just buys a little bit of time and settles the nerves around here. There's been a flurry of goals in the playoffs this evening. It's now Luton 1, Blackpool 1. In fact, it's just become 2-1. Vassell has given Luton a 2-1 lead. Blackpool, of course, went ahead in that game. Proctor. Now Lamb. They've got them rattled, Carlisle. Lamb. You've got mind whether it's a corner or a throw.
No, what's happening is the midfield three at the moment of Exeter, they're wanting to press high. The defence is dropping deep, and the likes of Proctor, Devitt in particular, at times they're getting in between the midfield and the defence, and it's difficult for the defence to come out, and the midfield don't want to drop, and that's what Carlisle worked that area really well in the last 10-15 minutes.
corner, headed away by Grant. Oh, wasn't too far away. Didn't have the greatest of power in the shot from James Bailey. He was looking for precision.
It was a good effort. I think it's the fact that it went through. If it was on target, Lesnick was unsighted.
There's a little collision. Gillespie comes in. Good communication between the keeper and his defender. Little now Granger. It's a breathtaking game of football. Flags up. David was offside. Joyce. And notably getting right in the faces of Exeter, trying to pin them back into their final third. Early in the game, they're allowing Exeter a little bit too much possession, Carlisle.
And that's the one thing you can't do. You know, when you're playing against a team like Exeter, if you allow them to dictate play, very good passing team and great movement. That's what Carlisle have done. They've stepped it up and not allowed Exeter to settle this last 20 minutes.
Grant. Harley. Seen a great deal of Ryan Harley so far. Woodman. Taylor. Troy Brown. Carlisle are forcing him to look long, and that plays into their strengths of having the two physical central defenders. Brown. That's an excellent tackle by Bailey. Proctor to Lamb. By Miller. Miller. Now it's Carlisle's turn to stroke the ball around this lush green surface. Now to Joyce. Draw Exeter out of their defensive positions, but they hold their line well. There's Grant, good feet. Lloyd James. Troy Brown down below. Tisdale is just having a little tinkle with his team. Lost their way a little bit, haven't they?
They're finding it difficult in midfield at the moment because the way that Carlisle are playing it, Carlisle have actually got an extra man in there. So therefore it's difficult for Exeter to play out. Carlisle are dominating in midfield.
Quick reminder of what we have on the menu for you on Tuesday night. It's Reading against Fulham. 1-1, of course, from the first leg in the Championship playoffs, and Sheffield Wednesday against Huddersfield is Wednesday night on Sky Sports 3. We await the first goal in that one. Luke Joyce, not just says on his passport, ball winner by occupation. He's beginning to do that. And his goal provider, Nicky Adams. They're allowing him to run at them, Adams. Eventually they set a trap. This is the first time they've not had enough players back here, Carlisle. Can they utilise it? David Wheeler, the key man. They've blotted him out of the game. We've hardly mentioned David Wheeler so far. 19 goals this season. Keeper leaves it to his defenders. Easy for Miller to find Lamb. Miller. Woodman. Straight and direct. Watkins was fractionally offside. Pierre Sweeney opts not to give it back to his keeper and takes out the insurance policy, putting it high into the stand. Well, that was the aim anyway. Four minutes ticking down on the clock till half-time. There have been very few stoppages. Granger opts not for the towel this time. Gets it to the dancing feet of Adams. Great cross by Adams. A necessary header from Woodman.
Because Exeter are thinking that there's going to be a long throw. Adams just waits, he gets the ball and he's got the time and space to deliver. Good defender at the far post from Woodman, but that's Carlisle mixing up. Exeter expecting the long throw, and Adams able to get on the ball.
And I'm sure the tea is brewing down in the changing rooms down below. This is not a time to concede a goal just before half-time. There's a collision in the penalty area, the bodies everywhere. The referee keeps the whistle firmly by his side. Barley to Woodman. They can't play their way out of trouble here, and it needed more Taylor to chase things down. Flag stays down. Lamb was there. He found the gap. They're finding the chances and beginning to dominate.
Well, they are causing their own problems. Exeter trying to play out from the back. The defence ends up eventually doing its job. You can see Sweeney is quite clearly playing Lamon. Good recovery challenge from Moore Taylor.
Again, it's a low route. The idea was to find Michael Rains at the far post. Well, he was concerned that his team's season was petering out, but they came back to win their last two matches. Hadn't actually won 3 in a row since November, but there has been a response of his team.
He'll be absolutely delighted, you know, to go behind, and then the character they've shown to come back into the game. He said, you know, they're going to enjoy the playoffs, and a lot of people at the end didn't expect them to get it, so they're going to try and take full advantage of it, enjoy it, and not get too carried away with it and take each game as it comes.
Granger stands over the ball, just draws breath as Rains and Little jog forwards again. Raised arm will be a message to those in the know. You've done the homework on the set pieces, Exeter. Familiarity after last week, but where they didn't handle things last week was when there was a throwing in a position like this. New towels, please. Miller's long throw. The legend pushes his own defenders to create space for himself. And he made that very big save early in the game. Bobby Olejnik, the recalled goalkeeper. Certainly was Exeter who started the game the better of the two. Carlisle United rattled, but they've edged their way back in, and there's a final first half chance here for Exeter. Paul Tisdale just checking with the fourth official. There'll be 2 minutes added to the first half, so he chances a couple of players forwards. Moore Taylor trying to make up for his own goal. Troy Brown, they split the defence into the near post. Gillespie with a decisive punch. Nothing silly from Pierre Sweeney. It takes a bit of a gamble. Rains header. Lloyd James to Woodman. Now Grant. In a sea of challenges, finds Watkins. Grant again. Loses Miller. Tees it up. Took a deflection. Oh, and it's squirmed in there. What a goal at such a vital moment. He's almost embarrassed to celebrate, Ryan Harley.
What a time to equalise, you've got to say. It's against a run of play as well. And when the ball comes back, when they do get the shot in, on the way, it takes a deflection. Might actually be off Liddell on the way through. Gillespie, see it comes through, does it, hits Gillespie. I don't know whether there's enough on it though. So Warren Gillespie not making the save. Good play down the left-hand side from Grant, just lays it back. It's a good strike. I don't know whether there's enough of a deflection on it. Something that goes past Gillespie.
Well, he does have piercing eyes, smiling eyes at time, but eyes that are piercing through his players at half-time. Keith Curle, could be argued that all 3 goals are own goals.
Yeah, and they won't be looked at in a positive way defensively. I think there's a lot wrong with all the goals that have been conceded. Both managers won't be happy in the manner in which they have conceded them.
Well, 3 unspectacular first-half goals in this playoff first leg. Nerves have got the better of many players out there today. Half-time whistle goes, that'll be music to the ears of some players. Decisive goal for Ryan Harley. After Joel Grant had given them the lead, Mark Gillespie will be looking in the changing room mirror and asking himself the question, could he have kept both of them out? And the response in the middle of those 2 goals from Nicky Adams. He will be taking the assist, which again was an own goal, which came off the heel of the unwitting Moore Taylor. It's an entertaining game here. At half-time, it's United 1, City 2. It's been an entertaining game of football in the first half, Danny, if not the highest quality.
It hasn't. It went so quickly. There was a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances, a lot of mistakes. And I think one thing you would say, Exeter probably did score against a run of play right before half-time.
Interesting. Practicing a goal kick? Is that an insight into the second half tactics?
I think the thing is that we saw with Carlisle on a few occasions when they did go long, they did create a few problems for Exeter, especially in that 18-yard box.
Well, no player has truly got a grip of the game so far. He's going to be claiming that goal, Ryan Harley, his 50th goal in English football, and has been a regular since he re-signed in January. Keith Curle had his players out a little bit earlier for the second half. I'm sure his half-time lecture was short, sharp and to the point. That is the 4th time these sides have met this season. The 2 previous games have ended 3-2 to Carlisle, and 6 times this season Exeter have taken the lead against Carlisle United. Can they hang on to it, or will history be repeated? I'm sure that's something that Paul Tisdale has pointed out to his players, that the games are never won against today's particular opposition.
No, they are both very free-flowing, not known for the defensive side of things, there's no doubt about it, but when they are going forward, the beauty of it is why both teams always get a lot of goals is they commit a number of men forward.
Keith Curle did change things around at half-time last week. He has resisted the temptation this afternoon. Last week, though, they needed to win. They needed to secure their place in the playoffs. We'll be looking at the much bigger picture of going to St James's Park on Thursday night. But second goal, of course, for Exeter, coming at a point in the game where Carlisle were dominating. Carlisle made a couple of changes today. Exeter made 3 changes, notably their goalkeeper, Alejnik, who has been very strong when they've thrown the corners and the long throws into the penalty area. They've actually started the second half, Carlisle, with Michael Rains pretty much stationed at centre forward rather than centre half. Expect the long throw. They put Devitt right in front of the goalkeeper. Rains is in there, Proctor waiting for the bits and pieces. He's trying to catch the eye of the keeper, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
A few diversions, more diversions than on the M6, and that shot almost ends up on the M6. tried hard to get his first goal for the club, James Bailey.
It felt nicely to him, but he just wasn't able to get over it. I talked before about the long throw, and it's not necessarily the first ball, it's can they get on the second ball. Carlisle have gotten a number of the second balls where they've not been able to take advantage of the situations.
A manager who will be hoping he can make plans for a league above next season, Keith Curle. His 150th game in charge of this club. He had won only 1 of 23 when he walked through the manager's door at the club. Mary's Lamb was a prominent attacking player. Proctor. Woodman. Or Taylor just hit and really hope there'd be a mistake there. Woodman lays it back to Troy Brown. Notably, no playing out from the back at the start of the second half from Exeter. They transfer the pressure aerially, which is a little difficult because there's 4 defenders and 1 attacker. He's a little outnumbered, Ollie Watkins. Good feet. Throwing himself in the way of the shot, Michael Rains. There's David Wheeler. They need to get him on the ball. Exeter is the one great creative mind in their team. Proctor. Adams. There's a throwback to the old-fashioned wingers and those slope shoulders, snaky hips. Well, the other semi-final keeps having twists and turns. Remember, Blackpool took the lead. Luton got back to 2-1, and Cullen has scored his second goal of the game a couple of minutes into the second half. About 5 minutes in the second half of both sides sizing each other up again. Woodman. Harley. Harley teases the ball up, easy for Little to deal with. It's a clumsy clearance from Bailey. Brown. And James, never available. Gret. Players will be happy that the sun has dipped down behind the main stand now on the far side. Keepers will be too. It's playing havoc with some of the crosses that were coming in.
What Exeter are doing in particular.
Oh, there's a slip in the area. Watkins needed the necessary touch from Danny Granger.
What Exeter are doing in particular with James, it's enabled them to grow into the second half and be on the front foot. They've got James, they've just got him sitting just in front of the two centre-backs, meaning that Proctor does drop, then he picks them up. Seeing route one from Exeter here. Won really well from Wheeler. Watkins plays a lovely ball there. Very good defending though.
It's a change of tack. It's a far more direct approach in the second half from Exeter, who came here initially playing nice short passing football. For the element of surprise, it's Watkins. Flag up. A good defensive play, let's put it down to that, from Carlisle, who came out in unison.
That's exactly what they're trying to do, create a little bit of space for Watkins to come into. It's a close one. It's just offside. Harley, that's what they tried to do, try and create that space for Watkins, but wasn't afforded too much time.
Ryan Harley's goal is the difference between the two teams at the moment. A man who scored for Torquay in the semi-finals of the playoffs. This is Grant moving quickly. Everybody had to regroup for Carlisle. Forceful start to the second half from Exeter City.
On the front foot, as we said about James just sending that little bit deeper, means the fullbacks can push higher up. The two midfielders, so Harley and Taylor, they can get further forward as well to give more support to Watkins, the front man.
Cool-headed manager Paul Tisdale. His first job was with Team Bath. He had 4 promotions with them. They're the first university team to the FA Cup first round since Oxford back in 1880. James. A spare man. It was Adams who had to get his head in the way of the ball. Just about hanging on in there at the moment, Carlisle United.
Yeah, once again, it's the fullbacks. They're starting to give more width going forward. The likes of Wheeler and Grant can then go in narrow further in front. But like I said, it's all about James. James is just sitting in with the two centre-backs. That's giving the freedom to the two fullbacks to give the width. Carlisle was struggling to deal with it at the start of the second half.
Over the head of Brown. Oh, it's a brilliant save from Gillespie. Saw it very, very late. Well, he makes up for a couple of misdemeanors in the first half.
It's an absolutely outstanding save. Sees it very late as well, because I think Grant's actually in his view. It is a fantastic save. Great header from Wheeler. The number of goals that he's got with his head this season as well, and you can see why. Fantastic header. Great save from Gillespie.
Restored some of the confidence that was lost in the first half from the Carlisle keeper. He tries to put on the end of it again, Wheeler. He's got a gymnastic leap. It's the omnipresent Adams. Great ball, always a step. Proctor onside if he can get there. Oh, and he left it to Adams, which is a big mistake. And maybe in his thinking, he was offside. I think the flag would have stayed down if Proctor had got there.
He worked it really well to come out. You see Bailey coming forward from midfield. He just overhits the pass a little bit. He is onside. I just think he thinks that Adams actually going to get to it, so he leaves it.
Here's Watkins. Now Joel Grant. Can go left, can go right. Goes on the outside of the defender, puts in a great cross. And that's in safe hands. When it's David Wheeler, he knew exactly what to do and registers goal 20 of the season. But maybe the most important of the season so far for Exeter City.
That's a fantastic break from Exeter. It's been the standout play of the game so far, in my opinion. Grant getting the ball once again, very direct, takes on Tom Miller. Only got one thing in his mind. He wants to get to that byline, use his pace, and then Wheeler just stops, creates that bit of space for himself. Gillespie spreads himself. There's nothing he can do about it. But this is fantastic play from Grant. Worst thing that fullback can have is pace running at him. Just see Wheeler, he just stops. Rains carries on his run, and he just gives him that yard, and he makes no mistake. He's the top goal scorer. See how, just from that, very cool and calm.
Well, there's an immediate response from Keith Curl. He's making a change. John O'Sullivan comes on. Jamie Devitt is the player who is sacrificed. Still plenty of life left in this game. Less than an hour gone. Straight into the thrust of things and winning Carlisle a corner, John O'Sullivan. Miller will come onto the field not just to influence the game, but to offer some of the orders from the manager. Lejnik coolly catches the ball under the shadow of his own crossbar. Temptation maybe to hang on to it, but he saw the opportunity to launch the counter-attack.
It's interesting as well. We're just behind the manager, Paul Tisdale. You think a lot of managers might be saying, just calm down, just take it easy. And Lesnick tries to play the quick one to get on the counter-attack. This one Paul Tisdale does is look at his goalkeeper and give him a round of applause.
Well, he is a little bit different, Paul Tisdale. A very deep-thinking young manager, only 44 years of age, despite being in the job almost 11 years. Lesnick unsure whether he could handle that. Explains his actions to his defenders. The noise you can hear is from the travelling supporters. There's a nervous silence from the Carlisle faithful. Miller throws it in. Lesnick fights to get to the ball. He didn't, and it crept right across the 6-yard box. Keith Curl is getting a response from his players. It's a header away from Wheeler after that goal at the other end of the field. Wheeler's there again, and they slow things down. They'll take a breather here, Exeter.
Lesnick, he is coming for everything, but he gets this completely wrong, and Range just can't get there, just past him. Otherwise it would have been a free header. Well, Lesnick is definitely going for all these balls.
Tom Miller with his day job, that's defending on the right side for Carlisle United. They can't afford to concede a fourth goal. Grant. For the Carlisle supporters, it may be a familiar feeling. They've never progressed from the playoffs. They went out in 1994 against Wycombe, and then in 2008 Leeds United won the lottery against them. Proctor. O'Sullivan brings some width to the attack. It's a good cross by him as well, but Troy Brown was decisive.
He's been excellent in centre half, really commanding, organising. He missed a large part of the start of the season. People attributed that to Exeter's poor start, defensively in particular.
There is Grant, weaving his way through again, leaving defenders in his wake. Watkins, one step over too many. Lamb. But Carlisle just have to gamble now. They have to attack. They have to appease their supporters and inch their way back into this two-legged semi-final.
We have seen in the last few minutes, because Exeter have been so on top, Proctor's dropping that little bit deeper. He needs a bit more support there, because he's dropping deep and he's becoming isolated. There's no one in behind him.
Well, a second change. They sacrifice a central defender this time. Rains comes off, and Sean Miller, who's scored 7 goals this season, comes on 6 minutes earlier than last week. He came on in the 66th minute last week when his team was struggling. Can he steer them again? He's one of the scorers in the 3-2 win here back in November when Exeter went to the bottom of the English Football League.
Well, we'll probably see now. Different system, a 3-5-2. Talking about that support.
Space, he's taken the chance, he's rounded the keeper. What a brilliant save from Lesnick. And Miller was straight into the thrust of things. He took centre stage immediately.
Lesnick does really well here, but this is what we're talking about, the support that Proctor needs. He gets it from Miller. Miller's quick, he's intelligent, he does really well. I give great credit to Lesnick. It's a time that just right, else that would have been a penalty. That's exactly what Miller will be expected. Sean Miller, sorry, coming onto the pitch, make a bit of a difference and give Proctor some support going forward.
Sean Miller has scored 7 goals this season, hasn't scored in his last 13 matches. They're getting on the front foot here though, Carlisle. There is a response, and this will be the first caution to an Exeter player.
I think one of Carlisle's standout players, Lamb, just brings him down. It's a really good area for them. You know, the delivery, likes of Adams, who stood over it, and Granger as well. Both got plenty of assists this season.
Carlisle United need a response, and they need it quickly. Adams is normally the architect of the goals. A couple of labourers in there as well. Comes to Granger. It was a smart routine.
Good credit to Taylor. Watch him, he separates really quickly, makes sure Granger doesn't get it all his own way under pressure.
He scored 2 goals in the game 8 days ago between these two teams. It's revenge at the moment for Exeter. Watkins. Now Woodman. It's a long ball. Proctor has beaten the defence, but the keeper is wise to it, to the extreme of his area, Alejnik. Christy Pym had won his way into the Exeter goal, but there can be no room for sentiment or charity when you get to such a serious point in the season. And that's why Alejnik was returning today.
I've got to say as well, he has patrolled his area very well. He might not have won a lot of the balls that he's come for, but he has been a big presence. He's not been afraid to come for every single one. More often than not, he has come and collected it. So just showing then he's been very vocal in organising his defence.
Freedom here for Ryan Harley. Supporting Grant. Spots Grant. Grant has a chance. Right across the face of goal. Offside. Not going to count. All those celebrations, Ollie Watkins.
Breaking very well and very quickly. Exeter. We've got our defensive midfielders sitting. It's 4 against 3. This one, he is onside. And when the ball's played across, that is close. Very close. The linesman's giving the defender the benefit of the doubt. I'm not too sure when that ball was played across whether he actually was offside. Watkins.
Defence of the referee's assistant on the far side. The ball is saved by Alejnik. He was looking through the defenders and all he could see was the yellow shirt. He looked offside and he was peering into the sunshine. But it was a marginal decision. Big decision by assistant referee Bob Roberts. Adams. It was a lifeline for Carlisle. 4-1, you get the feeling they would have been out of this. They've got a chance here. Brown doesn't get there. Even the most reliable defender has got a touch of nerves. Now Lamb. Danny Granger. To Proctor over his head. Woodman checks it back. He needed decisive keeping from Alejnik.
They really want though O'Sullivan. He needs to be getting to that far post. It's an opportunity here for him. Tries to get past Woodman. He doesn't push Woodman into Alejnik. Just where the discomfort's come for Woodman.
I think he was just looking for a break. He's been out for the last 7 games with, as you can see, the cast on his left arm there. He had a badly fractured arm, which cost him his place, but the 34-year-old has brought his experience and his leadership to Exeter today. Down assisting Paul Tisdale. He's a young manager. He's a sage, the great Spurs player Steve Perryman, who's the director of football, choosing Carlisle today instead of White Hart Lane. I'm sure he had an invitation.
I'm sure that he did, but showing what this means to him, an opportunity for Exeter City to get into the league above. So important for a football club like Exeter. They're looking to grow all the time.
There's Sullivan. And he's got a corner. He's come on and he's made an impact in this game, and they're about to make their third change as well, Carlisle United. George Waring is thrown into the fight. And the player who's taken out is Jamie Bailey. And very early in the game, 3/4 of the match has been played, and he's gone for the full house.
Well, he's a physical presence. It'll be interesting to see if he's picked up straight away. And extra plays at the moment. No one's really marking him. He's got a free run.
Adams' corner had gone out before it came back in. A waste of a set piece. Well, it's the first response down on the touchline. Paul Tisdale no doubt had a word with Steve Perryman. And it is Craig Woodman. He's taken out of the firing line, has been injured recently. And his replacement will be Ruben Reid. Now that is a striker for a full-back, which suggests they're going to go to a back three, and he's going to go lead the line.
Well, we were warned, both teams in particular. Exeter more than happy to change system during the game, and yep, quite rightly, he's gone to a back three. Reid, he's enjoyed his time against Carlisle. Both games this season, he's opened the scoring.
And he's got 2 goals in 3 matches against Carlisle United. He's a specialist in scoring late goals as well. It's mainly because he gets brought on as a substitute on a number of occasions. There's Joyce. Adams. There are 3 in the centre if he can provide the cross. It's Proctor. It's onside. The keeper is slightly advanced. It was a clever little attempt. And, the keeper's trying to set Wallace away there. He keeps doing that. You'd think he'd hang on to the ball, wouldn't you?
The manager seems happy enough that he's doing it. I think they want to go and get more goals. There's any doubt about that. And I think Tisdale believes that he can probably catch them on the counter-attack because Carlisle are throwing more men forward.
This is Proctor. Well, they have won 13 of their 23 away games this season, Exeter. And Olejnik calming influence again. This time he is going to hang on to it. But they have left 2 on the halfway line in Watkins and the sub Ruben Reid.
Exeter, we're talking about them, their away form, how good it is. Playing on the bigger pitches, being expansive and able to control games. Let's just show that.
It's getting a little tetchy down there. No messing here from Carlisle. The order to Mark Gillespie is just to launch the ball forwards. Waring is up there. Centre forward, young centre forwards on loan from Stoke City. O'Sullivan takes a slight deflection. Keeper's lost it. Well, another outrageous goal turns this game on its head. O'Sullivan snookered it.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say from his reaction that I think this was a cross. He'll take nothing away from it. He couldn't hit that any better if he tried. And Olejnik, he's anticipating a cross as well. Starts off his line. He couldn't have hit this any better if he's tried. Olejnik all the way, backpedaling and backpedaling. He's just hoping that he's going over the bar, but it's right in the corner. And that has given Carlisle a lifeline. But give great credit to Keith Curl. He's thrown a number of forwards onto the pitch and gone for it.
3-2 again in this tie. We have a match on our hands. Just after we'd shown you the possession statistic, there's the one that matters. Carlisle back in it. Now the adrenaline is flowing through the veins of the Carlisle players. Substitution worked out as well. John O'Sullivan coming on. Free transfer from Blackburn in the winter. Gets his second goal for Carlisle United. Adams with the cross. Little header on the back of it. 3-3. Two quick fire goals. This time it's the other super sub, Sean Miller. If you blink in this game, you miss a goal. My goodness me.
Oh, what a game. Only one substitute scores, the other one scores now, but it's fantastic movement from Miller. Great ball in as well, and he gets across Brown to that near post. But it is that man again, Adams, with a great ball into the box. And we talked about Miller, his movement, outstanding header. Great play from Adams, finds a little bit of space. And Lechnik has got absolutely no chance. Keith Curl means so much to him as well. He's made the changes that have brought his team back into the game. Give him full credit as well, and just listen to them fans.
What do they call them these days? Impact players. O'Sullivan and Miller make quite an impact. Well, there's going to be a change now from Exeter. Jack Stacey's coming on. Oh goodness, what a game of football this is. They're looking for a fourth goal. And Lechnik hangs on for dear life. 3 games this season, 3 times Carlisle have scored 3 goals against Exeter.
Carlisle are absolutely rampant. Look at the plays they're committing men for. They believe they can go on and win this game. And they're causing a lot of problems to the Exeter defence. They just can't get out at the moment.
This is Watkins responding for Exeter. Helped on his way on the edge of the area. Luke Joyce, he may have been who was leaning on him. They look shell-shocked, the Exeter players.
Watkins just gets the ball very direct. See, I think it's just Tom Miller just leans into him. This is an opportunity for Exeter, no doubt about it. Plays that need to be over the ball. Lots of Harley.
Well, they're going to make a double change in a moment, Exeter. Are they going to make it before the free kick? Or do they just stick for now?
Moore Taylor's not known for his free kicks, but he scored a fantastic one earlier on in the season against Doncaster. No one's expecting to hit it, and he just smashed it, found his way into the back of the net, and he stood over this one as well.
Well, there are 3 options in there. Maybe David Wheeler as well. He's already scored in this game. The referee draws a line in the grass. Harley's taking a spin bowler's run-up. Wheeler taking the longer line. Also standing over it is Moore Taylor. It's Moore Taylor, and he went for the grass cutter. Massive disappointment after the big build-up.
Oh, well, maybe he's not known for taking his free kicks. Might have just been a one-off. Tried to go for pace, trying to get under the wall, but not neither really.
In the centre, Adams cuts inside. He was going for glory himself. There are a few stares at Nicky Adams. There's 2 players offside in there. Entertaining, disorganised now, isn't it?
I think it's safe to say that Keith Curl is the best form of defence attack. Because on that attack, there were 6 Carlisle players within the 18-yard box. Fantastic to watch, exciting. It really is end-to-end.
O'Sullivan to Proctor. Patiently waiting to make a change. They're going to bring on experienced Lee Holmes and Jack Stacey. And Lechnik comes a long way. Well, he seemed to get under the ball there, but the referee may have been a keeper in his playing days and sides with the clubsman.
I just think just as the ball was played in, just the push. Sweeney that takes a Lechnik. wearing on him. He's quite right with the foul.
Well, it's surprising that David Wheeler, who's been their main source of goals this season, is taken out of the firing line, maybe kept fit and fresh. Jack Stacey comes on for him. I think the change is Joel Grant, who started the scoring, seems like an age ago, in the 15th minute of the game. He's replaced by Lee Holmes. Again, Paul Tisdale may be looking at the bigger picture. Keith Curle needed a response. Maybe Paul Tisdale will be happy to just stick with a 3-3 draw. Can't believe I'm saying that.
It's been an incredible game. It really has, just when you think the scoring's over. And one team just goes, and it goes to show. You know, both of them quite prolific in front of goal defensively, not as strong. Lee Holmes coming on, and being at Derby County, and he was one of the players that came through with Tom Huddleston, himself involved in the first team at a young age. He was very well fought for this football club, just coming back from injury.
There is Lee Holmes, offside. Not stepping into the fast lane, stepping into this game. He's only his third appearance of the year 2017, Lee Holmes. He's been struggling with injury, but he's a man who's had 3 promotions. They've used all of their changes today. They do have another young player to come back. That's Ethan Ampadu. He's only 16 years of age, who has been a regular in the team. Became the youngest player when he was 15 years old earlier in the season. And we expect that he will play on Thursday night, as he's got his GCSE exams over this week.
Expecting big things of him. There's a lot of interest apparently from Arsenal as well, where his dad's the youth team coach there as well, so interested, a bit excited to see him play.
His dad was Kwame Ampadu. He went up through the playoffs back in '97 with Swansea. This is Moore Taylor. And a wasteful ball by him, but maybe Exeter will be happy to just play down the clock now. 11 minutes remaining. Gillespie happy to just hang it in the air. It's quite a tussle there between Proctor and Brown. It has worked since they've reversed their tactics, Carlisle, and they've gone to a back 3. Last week it was a back 3 change to a back 4. Today it's a back 4 change to a back 3. We do have some unfortunate news. You can see Luke Kroll there, one of the substitutes for Exeter City. He's actually having to dab a cut above his eye, I believe. We're told that he was caught by a coin from one, well, I can't call him a fan, a foolish supporter, somebody who's turned up to the game today with money to throw away. Luckily, I don't think the damage is too serious. We're going to put that so-called supporter in a dark room with Luke Kroll and see if he's brave enough to ask for the money back.
Carlisle are doing really well. They're near enough playing with 3 forwards now, and because of that, Exeter aren't getting time and space at the back to play out from the back. A lot of the times, as we've just seen, it's just been hopeful balls being hit forward. It's falling nicely for our team. Keith will be delighted once again with his team's response, his change of system and substitutions.
Well, how's the scoring finished? Last week they scored the 2 crucial goals in the 72nd and 75th minute. This week they've scored 2 goals in the 72nd and 73rd minute. Previously, when they met here, there were 2 very late goals that were the winners for Carlisle. Looking for the winner here is it's Adams. They just have to throw bodies in the way at the moment. They're hanging on by their fingertips at the moment. Exeter City. 4 goals in the last 7 matches here. 3 this afternoon. And they get the 4th to take the advantage to the south coast. It's Adams. He's squeezed into the corner. Now the Grecians.
Happy at the moment, Exeter, to lead 2v1. They're allowing Carlisle to take the short corner. I think it's between Sullivan and Adams.
Tolson orders everybody back. Olejnikov was an important punch right off the head of Luke Joyce. Now Lamb. A little rushed. Well, 10 minutes into the second half, and those supporters were silent. Their team was trailing by 2 goals. A couple of changes, a couple of substitutes score. They're still enjoying their day out, the Exeter fans. But it's a semi-final very much in the balance.
We said at half-time, what do we expect in the second half? We said goals, we honestly didn't know which way it was going to go, because it's been such an open game. More often than not, the dominant team has been the one that's ended up conceding. It's been a fascinating game from start to finish so far.
Two clubs from the opposite ends of the English footballing map. There are 7 clubs in France closer to Exeter than Carlisle United. And every Scottish club is closer to Carlisle than Exeter, geographically. At the moment, they couldn't be closer. Nothing between them. Down on the touchline, a lot of movement, a lot of discussion between both coaching teams.
They're pushing, they're still going, they're trying to get more goals. They want to win this game. Well, they're not happy, they don't want to settle for the draw. Exeter, they're just trying to slow the play down, as you can see at the moment, but they are a threat, especially on the counter-attack. If Watkins can get hold of the ball with the pace he's got.
A quick reminder of the football here on Sky Sports. Thursday night we will be at Exeter at St James's Park for the second semi-final. The second leg promises to be a thriller. That's going to be on Sky Sports too. Well, they're promising to take a large number down there. Been a great showing today, considering the difficulty in making the 347-mile journey. Big hello to the Exeter fans who are watching at the centre spot back home. No fingernails left. Watkins, big chance, and Gillespie has been the hero of the second half. That's his second tidy save.
Full credit to him. It's not like what happened in the first half bother him. Trying to play the way out Carlisle and make a mess of it. That's a fantastic save, down quickly to his right side.
There's another substitute in the thick of things. Ruben Reid, who had the shot. Gillespie can't get there. One of those headers that can go anywhere. Luckily into the empty terrace behind Gillespie's goal. I'm blaming you, you know, because every time we show one of those last 10-minute possession statistics, somebody scores.
It's incredible. There's been a few of them. It's just been non-stop. It's been the quickest 85 minutes of the game. It really has been. Not been able to stop and get your breath.
Anywhere will do. The ball just hangs agonising in the air for Carlisle. They're throwing everything at them here. They're going for the winning goal, Exeter. Credit to Paul Tisdale and his enterprising approach to football. And then credit to Keith Cole, who countered that by making 3 substitutions. And O'Sullivan and Miller getting their names on the score sheet.
Definitely, both teams, they want the win. There's no doubt about it. Neither of them are happy with the draw. Okay, they'll both accept it, but both teams came here to start this game to win.
Well, this is a fixture that always goes to the wire. The last time they met here, Exeter were leading until the 89th minute. And Miller and Wyke scored. Wyke in the 7th minute of added time. digging in O'Sullivan, who may have done enough to earn himself a starting place down at Exeter. James. Nice little touch. Watkins, can he find a space? Stolen off him. And that was the two outstanding players who went head-to-head there. Adams and Watkins. Adams flawed. Would you imagine most managers will be happy with this 3-3 now? It's a crazy thing to say, but would they, if you offered them the chance now, would you say, right, we'll leave it here when they reconvene on Thursday?
As bizarre as it sounds, I actually think that Keith Curle will probably be happier. He knows that Exeter's home form hasn't been brilliant. Exeter will have come here, they wanted to win the game. But I think Carlisle, even though it's a draw at home for them, I think Keith Curle will be happy with the two managers.
Well, they haven't given up the chase here, Carlisle. They want to please their supporters in their final home game of the season. I hope it's the final game here at this level. They know about grand finales though, don't they, here? Remember the Jimmy Glass goal against Plymouth? Kept them in the Football League back in 1999. Adams with space. As he blocked, referee felt the ball had been overplayed. Watkins. Harley. Back to Watkins. Has space. Oh, the flag goes up. It was an uncertain flag. And Ruben Reid is not going to be a happy man there. Well, they accept it gracefully, Exeter City. But he thought they'd found the space. Was he just leaning?
He worked it really well. He's on. If you look at the markings in the grass, it might actually be Granger that plays him on. He'll be right to be aggrieved with that decision.
Well, he's not a ranter and raver, and I think the officials will be happy with that, because there is certainly a case to answer for the referee's assistant over there, maybe getting that one wrong. No chance to draw breath. Carlisle respond. Paul Tisdale and his assistants telling everybody to get back, standing over the ball. Nicky Adams, who we know can deliver a fine free kick. They draw a fine yellow line in front of their keeper, Olejnik. He's left it now to Granger. Suits a left footer this to swirl the ball in. Granger goes for the low ring, takes a deflection. His last spinning shot. Now Adams gets an opportunity. Getting the big build-up, lets us down. All eyes will be on the fourth official down below, young Robert Jones, who tells us there will be 5 minutes of time added. That's gone down well.
Time for another couple of goals here as well.
Nobody in their right mind is leaving Brunton Park just yet. Oh. Reid plays the ball in. This could be the vital one, the winning goal. Gillespie keeps it out. Anywhere will do. And Ryan Harley is denied. And he was the villain of the first half, Mark Gillespie, and he's the hero of the afternoon after that star save.
This is brilliant. Granger commits himself. One of the centre-backs then has to come out. But full credit to Gillespie. That's 3 outstanding saves in the second half. But also give great credit as well to Lamb, because he's there. He's been playing high up the pitch. It's an absolutely fantastic block from him as well. But that man, whatever he did in the first half, he's redeemed himself more than adequately this second half.
It's like a ride on a roller coaster. Nice. The down. Brown with a high boot, or was it a low head? The referee's not buying any of it. Play continues. Here's Sweeney to James. Reid, just as he likes it, tries to take it down on his chest. And Sullivan becomes the extra defender. It's Exeter finishing the game stronger here. They just can't hang on to a lead, can they? against Carlisle United. Taken the lead 6 times against them this season. O'Sullivan. We know that they have the long throw experts. It's going to be Tom Miller. Summons the energy, winds himself up. Little touchdown, good regrouping though, helped away by Stacey. Agonising moments for the Exeter supporters. O'Sullivan, very, very good defending. They just clear the lines. There's no enterprising football anymore from Exeter, hanging on in there. O'Sullivan. Taylor clears the lines. Gillespie, neat feet. And there's going to be a long 4 days for these two managers as they decide on their best tactics. They changed things around last week, they changed things around for the build-up of the game today, and they've continually tinkered with the team during the course of the match. This is Adams. 3 in the centre, lots of pushing and shoving. Proctor comes to the near post. A long, loud cry of handball there. It certainly appeared that it may have hit the arm of Pierce Sweeney.
One of the things, it would be very difficult to give a handball against him because he actually hits his leg first and then goes up and hits him. It would have been very cruel to give a penalty against him.
He'd have appealed for it though, wouldn't he?
Oh, of course, definitely, 100%. He'd be daft if you didn't.
It was a heart-in-mouth moment. They swirl it in again. Alejnik. Cool-headed keeper. I think he's going to be keeping goal in the home game on Thursday night.
When you talk about the tactics, how they change things, I think the biggest decision the two managers are going to have is starting 11. There's players that have come on for both teams and made a real positive impression.
Ollie Watkins. Into the final minute of a cut and thrust playoff semi-final. Hasn't been football of the highest quality, but it's been entertainment of the highest quality. Brown flies it. What a bruised, tired bodies out there. Two teams are in the final few miles of a marathon season. Ruben Reid, good feet, cuts inside, lays the ball back. Oh, the post is to the rescue. Time was standing still then as Jake Taylor flat-footed the defenders. The goalkeeper could only stand and pray. His prayers were answered. Well, what a dramatic game from start to finish. There are 22 tired bodies down there. Two managers with a handshake of respect who'll go toe-to-toe again on Thursday night. And they deserve credit as well, especially Keith Curle, who took a gamble of making 3 substitutions in the second half, and 2 of them paid off big time. O'Sullivan bringing them back into the game. Remember, they were 2 goals down until the 72nd minute, and Miller, the second change, came on to score the decisive goal to make it 3-3, but it hadn't ended there as there were twists and turns, and this is a game you want to see reenacted again on Thursday night.
It's been an absolutely fantastic game, and that man in the picture, Keith Curle, and also Paul Tidsdale, they should take great credit from this. Okay, it's not been a defensive masterclass, but both managers set up their teams to win the games. All players deserve a huge amount of credit as well. Neither of them wanted to settle for a draw. It ended up being a draw, but what a fascinating and entertaining game, set up so nicely for the second leg as well.
Well, it had the League Two label, didn't it? Guts, honesty, integrity, a lot of human errors out there as well. We'll see as we run back through the goals in a few minutes. And then 2 goalkeepers who proved to be heroes after some shaky moments during the course of the game. A lot of familiarity between these 2 players, but it's a fixture that never lets us down. Well, the fans have enjoyed it, and it's a standing ovation from both sets of supporters.
And the respect between the players as well. Both sets have gone out to battle. given nothing, left nothing behind. Both managers, Paul Tisdale this time, be so proud of his players. Like I say, it's been a mammoth performance from both teams. Like I say, the supporters, every single set of supporters, the players walking around the pitch and being rightly applauded, whether it be the home team by the away fans or the away team by the home fans. It's been a fantastic performance, an entertaining game. One of the quickest 90 minutes that I've ever had the pleasure of working on, without doubt.
Well, the Carlisle supporters have what's called a lap of appreciation these days, don't they? It's not quite celebration yet, because they have to go to Exeter, and they're hoping they'll see many of the supporters again at Wembley Stadium. But so do Exeter, who've had a wonderful travelling support, who've made the journey, the length, literally the breadth of the country today as well. They want his boots. There's no chance. He needs them for Thursday night, and he hopes that they're scoring boots as well.